tell a million stories. Love's unkind, spiteful in a million ways.
Andrew Rannells, Christian Borle, and Stephanie J. Block, the stars of Broadway's new production of Falsettos. Welcome to On Stage, and congratulations, you guys. This show is brilliant, and you guys are brilliant in it. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right.
When you say that, Frank, it's still sort of a shock a little bit that we're doing this show, that we're in the cast of Falsettos. I still get a little, like, every time I think about it, I get a little rush.
Well, we'll get to that. Falsettos, obviously, Andrew, like you said, is back on Broadway, and you guys had a very exciting opening night. Pretty much anyone attached to the original productions, be it off-Broadway, Falsetto Land, and March of the Falsettos, and the 1992 Broadway production of Falsettos were on hand. You guys opened to rave reviews. Was that surreal for you? What was opening night like, guys?
It was surreal.
It was surreal.
Yeah.
We desperately wanted to make them proud, I think. Having Bill, William Finn, Bill, and James Lapine in the room, that was awesome in and of itself, because along the way they kept saying, oh, that's working, oh, that's yours. So there was this great bridge between what existed before and what was vitally important to the original productions and what was allowed to make new in 2016, and we got their stamp of approval along the way. So that was really helpful.
Well, you all have these different stories. You were talking at the press meet and greet when you guys, previewed the show for the press a couple months back, and you all have these specific moments when you were introduced to the show. For folks at home, can you share with us?
Yeah, mine was the
moment?
Tony Awards, 1992. They did the baseball number, and just being really blown away by the sound of it and the look of it, and obviously, being a gay kid, like seeing a gay storyline on stage was very exciting. And but yeah, that Tony Award performance was the first introduction I had to it. I've never seen a production of the show. It's one of those things that as we got into rehearsals of it, I had played out those CDs growing up, but had never seen it all together and had made sense of some things that
were quite different.
Yeah, they were quite different. I was like, oh, is this actually how it goes?
Yeah.
So much of this show is a celebration of the modern family, and the show was so ahead of its time when it came out. First in the '80s, and then of course on Broadway in '92 when the two one acts were put together. What does family mean to you?
Well, I have a very small family, technical family, so I'm very happy to be in this community and to take with me, after every single show, new family members, and it just gets bigger and bigger, and things change over time. Old friends are now more family than they are friends, and vice versa, and I'm so excited with this group. It feels like 7 out of 7. Or 6 out of 7, because I don't count myself. But it's very exciting. And beyond. Let's call it 10 out of 10.
I read something recently that said you have your biological family and then you have your logical family. And I think that's what is so true about Falsettos, is that yes, there are some bloodlines through marriage, through having a child, but these people, even though they may not understand each other, there's still great love there, and they're sticking it out to lift each other up and to hold each other accountable and to try to get the best out of each other. And that to me is the definition of family, for sure.
It's also something that I think that this show does very well, which is that families can be incredibly clumsy with each other and hurtful. And there's something about these characters that Bill and James wrote, that they are so resilient, because we do horrible things to each other in the face of trying to figure out what love means, how to love properly. And in real life, I think that, true family can weather a lot. And you
if
come
they're
out the
willing
other
to
end.
continue to grow and listen to each other and strive for better. And these characters do that.
New York, Broadway was a very different place in the early '90s when the show debuted, and yet it seems like the time is now for Falsettos. What do you guys say to that?
I can only speak to the day we came back after the election on Wednesday, and every lyric took on a multi-layered meaning. It's so amazing how this play can morph into what's happening beyond the walls of our theater. And in this political climate especially, I say this line that says, I'm tired of all the happy, frightened men who rule the world. And in both performances, the Wednesday matinee and the Wednesday evening, it felt like a movement, and the crowd cheered and screamed, and we had to just stop for a hot second for them to kind of take that in and reciprocate I agree with you. And it has, we're back to the storytelling at hand, the storytelling of Falsettos and of these 7 amazing characters. But we can tell that it's crossing storylines into present day truths.
Yeah. Certainly not that we're at the silver lining stage of this process, of this election, post-election, but to think that this show was written during the Reagan administration, where there was just a blatant ignoring of the AIDS crisis. I mean, the fact that this is something that came out of it, all of the great art that came out of that time period. I mean, there's a different energy when you're fighting against something, and sometimes really beautiful things come out of it. So we'll see.
The idea that we're performing the show in a climate that is potentially worse than it was back then, in terms of tolerance and acceptance, is so staggering and traumatic to me. It's been amazing to be able to do this show just on a personal level, to come in and tell this story and to be around everybody. But I'm so angry, and I'm so glad that Bill Finn is angry as well. I'm curious what he's going to write next. I can't go on anymore, because then I'll just start getting into politics, and that's always the downer.
Yeah, well.
That's a whole different show, you guys.
I want to keep going, basically to say, it's so shocking to me. There are people right now that are trying to make arguments about justifying people who voted for Trump despite the man that he is, and I can't get on board with that argument either. Anyone who voted for Donald Trump because of who he is, that obviously on the face of it is shocking and ugly and terrible. But that you would vote for him despite what he is, recognizing what he is, to me is so viscerally awful. And I'm so grateful. I know it's not helping the argument, but I'm so grateful to live in New York City, surrounded by people who are not all like me.
Yes.
My friends, congratulations on Falsettos.
Thank you.
Folks should check you guys out at the Watercur Theater. It's a must-see. It's a must-see this season. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
so
you all.
much.
Thank you.